Welcome to Aberdeen, Scotland, a city known for its Long Beach and profitable oil industry. It's also a place of education with strong traditions in its universities. The Marshall College building, constructed in 1837, was renovated in 2011 and acts as the headquarters of the Aberdeen City Council. It remains the second biggest granite building in the world, and granite is also found inside the Curl Aberdeen, albeit in smaller quantities. The World Mixed Doubles Curling Championship 2021 takes place here, and at semi-final time, Norway will play Sweden. For Norway, we have Magnus Nedregotten playing alongside wife and teammate Kristin Skaslien. They will take on undefeated Sweden, Oskar Eriksson, playing with a new teammate, Almida de Waal. Of course, Oskar, reigning world champion, with Anna Hasselborg from Stavanger 2 years ago. We'll see how the teams got there. The two groups, Group A and B, 3 teams coming out of each group. We see Sweden with 9 wins, Norway closely with 8 and 1. We're expecting these two teams to put up a cracking game, and entertaining one. We certainly had one this morning as Switzerland played Canada. Taking a look at the playoff bracket, we will see how this all works out. We have the 2 qualification games this morning. Norway played Italy and Canada played Switzerland. The winners of those 2 games comes into the semi-final, where Sweden and Scotland had a bye to the semi-final, having won their groups. And of course, the winner of the semi-finals will play off for gold. Taking a look at the other games, or the other game, Czech Republic plays USA. That is the qualification game for the Olympic Games Beijing 2022. So the winner there will grab a spot at the Olympics. Rules of play for curling. In mixed doubles, we have 1 male, 1 female player. There's 1 pre-position stone per team per end. Each team will throw 5 stones each end, and the game is scheduled for 8. 22 minutes of thinking time is awarded to teams at the start of the game. Now, the players will throw stones either 1 and 5 or the middle 3 stones. They are allowed to switch positions between ends, but there are no takeouts until the 4th played stone. 1 power play is also available to the teams. I think the pre-position stones are up, and Norway and Sweden are ready to go. Sweden gets last stone advantage, having the higher rank coming into the game. I'm Sander Rolvag, joined by curling extraordinaire Alan Chalmers. Good afternoon.
Hello, Sander. Nice to be with you this afternoon for this Scandal Bash clash.
Kristin Skaslien will get us started. First stone of the semi-final. It is a repeat from the semi-final in 2013. These 2 nations played off against each other, and it was the Norwegian team to feature in that game, losing to Sweden, albeit a different Swedish team. And this one comes up a bit shy, top 8. Almida de Waal. With big shoes to fill, Anna Hasselborg was Oskar's teammate when they won the title 2 years ago, but so far have not failed to deliver the goods. Won every single game, and most of them in very convincing fashion. Trying to tuck this one around the red stone, just played by Norway. Pretty good effort.
That's an excellent opening stone, that just calm any nerves she does have. They've had the gap since yesterday, and the Norwegian team have played 1 more game, had a feel for the ice.
Magnus Nedregotten will play the middle 3 stones for Norway. He's coming after Yellowstone. Would love to just tap it back a bit, but this one, I think, just a bit tighter for line, maybe catching a different path, and it's gone. Typical first end. If you're just a little bit offline, you might find some fresh pebble. And Oskar Eriksson with a chance to put another stone in there. I think this is what Sweden's been very good at this week. They just come out firing from the first end, very, very precise, and really taking advantage of other teams' sloppy starts. So we get a couple of half shots from Norway, and you can see Sweden, as per usual, just pin perfect with their first shots.
Yeah, you don't want to be giving Oskar relatively free shots. You want to try and put a little bit of pressure on him. There's really nothing stressful about that shot at all. It just came out. Beautiful slide. Touch delivery.
You can see the guards staggered as well. No run back really available to Nedergotten. Already in trouble. So having to come the other way.
Try and tuck one in.
Should know the path fairly well. Not having to draw for hammer and pre-game practice. They probably focused a bit more on drawing away from home, as that is where the first end is played. Hold tight for line on this one too. Or maybe not.
Just for weight now.
Very close. Tucks around the red. Is it past the top yellows? Yes. It gets actually a tiniest rub, but sits half frozen on the back yellow. Very good shot, very good effort.
Did that just take a tiny deflection off the front stone there? Couldn't quite see. It certainly looked like it from the path it eventually took.
Yeah, I just think it had the slightest of touch and still managed to tuck in there. Sweden lining up the shot here, trying to catch that widest yellow stone on the right and run it onto the red. Oskar is left-handed, so we'll see a bit more of this yellow stone than a right-handed would. So on this particular occasion, a small advantage being left-handed.
Bra fart! 10-0.
I think he needs to hit less than what he can see, so thinner the better on this one.
Yeah, very nice. Wanted to catch it thin, so the yellow didn't spin back of T-line. It does roll a tiny bit, but very good shot by Oskar.
We will not criticize that, as under that looked pretty good to me. It does leave a small bit of the button open again. We're talking small areas here.
If Norway can make the same shot again, Sweden won't have the same type of slash available to them.
Sure.
A lot of pressure on the Norwegians already in the first end, as expected. A little wider maybe than the previous shot. Could be an indication that it's running a bit hotter.
Let's just tuck in.
He's really trying. Well, it is in there for second shot. Could potentially take a huge end away. So Sweden could come on the left-hand side again and play the slash, but it would open the button and leave a pocket for Norway. So Sweden will just draw after, try and line two.
Tror den är bra. Ligger fint. Lite kort. Kan gå linje.
You need to see this one for line. This one's beginning to go
Now this one's short of weight.
Yeah.
Oscar called it early. And I think you're, especially first, then you're slightly penalized. If you throw it a bit too shy and it grabs curl early, it finds a new path and it comes up well short.
Yeah, that's a good shout, actually. Quite often, when they've been missing on the short side, they're really very short.
Yeah, and it makes it look like they were very far off, but in terms of weight, not necessarily that much. Oscar saying he probably needed a bit more ice as well, just found a tighter line. So Norway potentially out of trouble here. Need to be careful about where they put this last one, though.
Yeah, you can see in that shot there that the yellow stone on the button is still partially open, maybe a third open for any contact, which would drive the red out sideways. So they're looking just to cover that option. They can get something in line here. I can't see an easy shot for more than one for Team Sweden.
Yeah, I think they're just guarding, which is probably the better shot. If you ever come into the house there and try to freeze the shot stone, you could have left an angle for a potential 4. I don't think that was necessary, so guarding it, probably the better option.
Jag tror det. De är ungefär likvärdiga, tror jag. Ja, alltså bara frågan om den kanske är väl svår.
Could run the guard actually and just try to nick the yellow shot stone. And I think that's what he's looking at now. The call was to try and draw there. Cool. Don't think there's much danger in playing the run.
No, not coming from that side.
Yeah, I don't think they can hurt themselves playing this.
I think the red at the top, the 8 foot, defends the angle that would be a disaster for Sweden. So
last stone first, and lots of action already in this game. Very difficult shot left for Almeida de Val. Pretty much a nose hit, and this really needs to be millimeter perfect. Does it curl enough? No. What happens here? Well, they get away with it.
yeah, Nash actually hit it finer than we first thought. So that red one did actually come back into play. Could have gone against Sweden there. Worth the risk. Maybe they thought it was only going to be for a 1, I suppose.
In the end, Sweden does score 1, I think. A sigh of relief for Norway. That looked a bit sketchy early on. In the semi-final, Sweden up 1-0.
Han hade ju is mitt ja. Men okej, men det är liksom som med Japan här, føler jeg at med en gang du ikke treffer, hvis du ikke er langt nok ut i sporet, så bare dør det liksom.
Ja, vi kommer ikke langt nok ut på alt. Hvor er det jeg har denne magi?
Ja, kanske gick att dra också, men ja, vi låg 1. Och jag kändes väldigt otur om vi skulle slå bort egen. I alla fall med den farten. Ja. Vi kom in lite tid bara. Ja.
We're playing the semi-final. of the World Mixed Doubles Curling Championship 2021. Norway plays Sweden. Sweden scoring one in the first end. Almida de Val gets us going in the second. Put a lot of pressure on Norway. At the start of that end, Norway able to make a few good shots and get out of trouble. Very perfect first stone from Almida de Val. She's made those very good, very well all week.
Yeah, it's so consistent on those weights all week.
Of course, Oscar judging those very well also. Playing third for Niklas Edin. Reigning World Men's Curling Champion and World Mixed Doubles Champion, Oscar. See Nedergotten really planking on the broom, really. Putting as much weight on it as possible. And that's a good shot.
Yeah, it is a good shot.
Yeah, when you have last stone, don't mind just moving the stones about a wee bit. Try to make sure you have a bit more room to score.
That's okay.
So the first time Oscar and Magnus would have played each other in an international competition championship would have been in Scotland, actually, in Perth at the World Junior Curling Championships. Oscar skipping Sweden, they won gold. Magnus picked up bronze. Sebastian Kraup, coach for Sweden. Of course, the former third player for Niklas Edin, also world champion with Skip Niklas.
It's very modest, Sander. And you're a member of that bronze medal team as well, I believe.
Yeah, I was in Perth. I just remember losing to Sweden, really. Magnus making a comment about the stone. He's overcurled twice with that now, and starting to think that might be the stone's slightly different. Thomas Løvold is a national coach of Norway. Won a silver medal at the World Men's Championship in 2010. Actually had to be... he was at his cottage. Thomas Ulsrud had to go home to Norway for family reasons, and he was called down to step in and play. He was an at-home fifth man. Flew down, got there in 24 hours and made it to the final. Sweden trying to punish the mistakes of Norway here.
Yeah, and was there another occasion where Norway were not skipped by Thomas in a championship? They were skipped by Torger and did well as well, or was that one?
Yeah, that was the same one.
That was the same one. I had a memory of two. But,
lost to Kevin Cooey in the final. So just coming around.
Yeah, there are lots of stones in a line here. Quite threatening for Norway. They're lying one, but the angles are not great for them now. They just need to get a little bit more backup for the shot stone here.
känsligt, men man kan ju chansa på att lägga en där.
Ja.
Men hamnar jag här så är det ju
I så fall
då är det nästan en freebie 2 för dem. Hamnar jag här så är det inte... Kan de skjuta ner kanske? Andra alternativet att lägga en guard här var att tappa 1.
Ja.
Vi provar eller?
Dra här.
Ja.
Ja, om du vill.
Allting kort är okej. Lite utanför 12-fotskanten.
Ja, vi kör på den.
So they'll be trying to draw just right next to the Norwegian red stones, kind of set-up shot. Of course, closest down the scoring area, but then they might have a chance to make a play on this yellow to chip out the shot stone on their last. Saying that anything short is okay. Definitely don't want to end up behind the tee line, because then Norway could come in on top and lie too. Coming wider. See Oscar just leaning on the broom. So we'll just leave it shy.
Yeah, that does look like a set-up shot which they might be able to use. Drive into the pack with Almeida's last stone if they choose to do so. I think they'd be more likely just to elect to give up 1.
Du må tappe langt nok der I hvert fall.
Alternativet er garde.
Jeg tror du må tappe den, for ellers så har vi ikke noe for 2.
Jeg også synes det.
Ja. Bakanfart da.
Ja, backline.
Ja.
Considered guarding, but
Litt mindre, tror jeg.
that would be conceding the chance of scoring too. So they'll just be trying to play this on the nose. The Yellowstone played by Sweden. Just tap it back, at least past the tee line.
Akkurat gjennom.
Trying to open up a path. If you could
Akkurat gjennom.
tap it and just split the one at the back of the 1 foot a little, give himself a basket maybe as well. That might be useful.
Bara lägga en guard där. Så.
Ja, för de har inget
nej.
så...
Nej.
Nej. Om de
Slår de här så stannar alltid 3an. Slår de här så stjäl vi. Så. Tror en guard där.
Ja, över Karlen.
Ja, jag tror det är lättare.
Men den treeren er byttetre.
I don't think you need to understand Swedish to realize what the plan is here for Oscar and Almeida.
Godt hende du får noe her, altså. I verste fall en spinner, da. Prøv også å være baneskille.
Pointed the brush to a spot, pretty much a corner guard. Really just trying to take away the draw on the right-hand side for 2. And I think we'll see Sweden now come across the center line, which is I would prefer anyway, as to come across the center line instead of coming too very wide on the sheet. Sometimes it just takes a little time to get across the center, though.
Yeah, it's a good way to block the path. If you just keep this moving now, it's into the area they were looking for, and I think an easier way to get there. Like you said, Xander, that's an easier way to get there. Having to go almost out to the barrier and then cut it back.
So I would say there's not really a shot for Norway, unless the only shot you could play here is the spinner. Made somewhat known by Tommy Rantamäki at the Olympics. If you spin a rock, I'm not sure if this is going to be enough for Norway, but if you spun it with about 40-50 rotations, it will actually quite often curl massively at the end. But to do it in a curling game is a whole another thing.
Yeah, you would need, for the way those stones were lying there, you'd probably have needed about 200 shots at it to get it to work.
You can try it at home in your own curling club, but very, very tough to do in a semi-final. It will just be the single point for Norway, so it's a tied game. Teams just kind of cancelling each other out so far.
Har du nått noen av de andre? Jeg bytter den bare, for jeg køller over 2 ganger, så det føltes bra ut.
Det er en ekstra gul om ni vil ha.
Har du det? Har du sånn spraylakk også, eller?
Ja, det er litt kul for TV, ja. En gul rød.
Jeg tror dere trenger flere steiner enn dere har, faktisk, Oskar.
Sett opp steinmål da, Magnus!
Ja, jeg skal gjøre det.
Ja, jeg vet.
Jeg tror vi kommer få litt der på Tjeckien snart. 5-0. Tappa en liten 2 snart, og så da kommer OS-drømmerne börjar.
Jeg likte inne,
Ja.
det var veldig fint. Du snakket om 14-2, glei nesten bak 4 med mye kosting. Så er det nære kant 12.
Norway, Sweden, playing the third end, Kristin Skaslin with the first stone. It's a tied game so far. We see Skaslin throwing 80% for the week, which is tough to do when you play stones 1 and 5. So often you're left with a shot that's either extremely difficult or potentially impossible. Kind of like what we saw in the second end. Skaslin had, in theory, maybe a chance to get there, but like Alan said, you might need 200 tries to make it happen.
Jeg satte seg mye. Ja, men du, bra spill.
And she might get a 0 for it on the stats, as she tried. But I think the only stats Norway and Sweden care about is what numbers go on the scoreboard.
Yeah, it's been cagey stuff so far. There's not really been any major attempts to score big ends. Norway managed to get a good saver in the first end, but there's really been no shots fired in anger yet.
Well, I think it's just that the teams have been playing very good shots here and haven't really left too many opportunities for the other half.
Friendly neighborhood rivalry. Doesn't want to get ugly early. As you can see, Oscar was speaking with the Norwegian coaches at the break.
Yeah, there's a bit of banter between Magnus and Oscar as well. When Magnus said he wanted to switch out one of his stones, Oscar said, "We have a couple of yellows if you want one."
Some spares.
Yeah, very friendly. Oscar has come to play in our curling club and just outside Oslo many of times for bigger competitions and more leisurely ones.
Men du må holde rent, og du må gå på mine sider, så de er helt ned.
Just see that Norwegian counter coming in. I'll swept round the top guard. It's a pretty useful slot. It's lined up in the 1 foot in front of the tee line, so slightly better start for Norway so far this end.
A little fun fact, both Oscar and Magnus wear 2 different shoes. And with Oscar being left-handed, maybe next time they can pair up when they get shoes and mix and match.
Save them a pile of money.
Yeah. It's all about feel. I remember my curling shoe broke and I had to borrow a club rental one. I ended up playing with it for, I think I still play with it.
Just shows you it's not the equipment, it's the player that makes the difference. Good shot by Sweden, beginning to open up the scoring area, open up the scoring space now. That's which is what they want to do with the hammer. Don't want to get too congested again.
And that's exactly the plan for Norway without hammer. Very much like in the four-person game, is to actually congest the center line and the forefoot. Just try and do the opposite. Which is normally a lot easier in mixed doubles. It is sort of set up for that. Much harder to create space with last stone.
Yeah, and obviously no hitting by either team until the fourth stone is actually coming down the ice. There's bound to be, it's inevitable, there's going to be stones in play in a very small area is what they're trying to do. So it's designed to be a scoring game.
Very nice freeze.
Antingen skicka cornern, försöka få med den. Så slår de här så kanske man kan få en dubbel sen på nästa. Nej, bara ta med den på kanten.
Det føles ut som 14-dag, men det er sikkert litt dårlig.
Nej, jag tror det. Ja. Halvträff är väl nära på utsidan. Lite tjockare på insidan, va?
We see Alison Kraviazek on the left of Sebastian Kraup. Long-time second for Rachel Holman. And of course, now lives in Sweden. And her Swedish has become very good to the point where she doesn't speak English very often with the players. National coach for the mixed doubles in Sweden. Oscar looking to peel the corner onto the side red. Almost gets it. Just trying to bring that yellow on the opposite side into play.
You can see that both sets of frozen stones are angled in favor of Norway at the moment. Just looking to disrupt something there and roll the shooter.
Yeah, throws it pretty hard, still able to jump up and sweep it. But if Oscar wants to go full throttle, I can't see how he's going to be able to catch up with it.
Yeah, I think he's got another couple of gears above what we just saw on that one.
What you'll see when players play with their men's or women's teams, they might be using a gripper, anti-slider, on their Teflon shoe and run or walk next to the stone. That's a little bit impossible in mixed doubles unless you don't sweep your own stone.
One person does all the sweeping, yeah.
So some players actually having to adapt a bit.
Yeah, of course, some players are used to sliding with a particular or a different style of brush for their slide than they would sweep with. We've seen that before, where they've struggled to slide with the brush that they're sweeping with.
I've seen some Canadians with corn brooms. Not this week, though.
Bra fart!
Ligger bra. Ha plats.
Corn broom in the mixed doubles would be an interesting concept. Mike McEwen trying to get up out his slide and pound away on the ice. Great shot.
Wow.
Great shot.
How do you get there?
Just when the angles looked like they were Norwegian, Oscar hooks one round.
You wouldn't be able to make that shot in most curling clubs. That is really down to the excellent work the ice makers have done here this week. That late finish, the symphony between the stones and the ice here this week has been tremendous. I mean, it's almost fully buried, and it's only a foot behind the top red.
Yeah, it's an unbelievable shot. One of the best in the business.
Yeah, I think you can make a strong case for that. Still fairly young, only 29. Last one for Norway. And a bit of bother. I think just coming around, trying to tap the red onto the yellow top button.
Yeah, need to work the angles back again. I think if they can pop the yellow deeper, make themselves a basket. Yeah, no, pretty good, pretty good. The fact that they've set up the reds to come onto the basket. Oh, sorry, that was last stone. I lost track. Lost track.
Very easy to do in mixed doubles.
I was convinced there was one more stone of each for each team.
I was just hoping to push that yellow far enough so Sweden only would lie one. Oh. Now there is a chance to tuck in there for 3. I saw Magnus come up a bit shy on that side of the sheet as well. Last stone for Sweden, Almida de Waal. Left a much more makeable shot than in the first end. Had a very tough run back, but this one still pretty tough. Just this side of the button available. Can tap their own yellow, but not too much. And just like that. That's the kind of shot Almida de Waal has been playing all week long. And that's why Sweden's undefeated. And that is 3 points on the board for
such a difference. Such a difference if you can convert those extra points.
That's what you need. Sweden lead Norway 4-1.
Det gick långt ut länge också, så det kommer bra på slutet.
Det behövdes så. Ja, grymt.
Tycker jag satte den ordentligt också.
Ja, riktigt bra spelat.
Bra omgång, bra spel.
Om vi tar... jag syns vi ska spela en vanlig omgång. Spela bra. Ja, det är grattis.
Center på corner.
Ja, det blir center.
Det blir center den här gången.
Det blir center.
We've got a World Championship in the Curl Aberdeen venue here in Aberdeen, Scotland. Norway plays Sweden in one of 2 semi-finals. The other one will be later tonight. Canada-Scotland, a very traditional matchup. But of course, Norway-Sweden, a very big game in all sports, really. There's always been a friendly rivalry. Very much in cross-country skiing as well. They've played each other 6 times in the past at this championship, Norway and Sweden. The Swedes winning 5 out of 6 games. So Norway looking to do something about that statistic, but trailing by 3.
Okej.
Du hade kunnat tappa ner den om du vill.
Kanske är härifrån.
Ja.
Yeah, I imagine Norway consider this their biggest rival. Does Sweden reciprocate that by seeing Norway as their biggest rival?
Good question. I'll have to ask Oscar, maybe. I think on men's play it might be Canada more, but in mixed doubles.
Sorry, I meant across all sports. Sorry, I was.
Oh, in all sports. Yeah, I mean, yes.
Trying to think if I know any other two countries that are neighbours that they have a strong rivalry.
That'll be hard to find.
Yeah, in curling. Unfortunately for Canada, I think everybody likes to beat them.
Yeah, that's the tough part about wearing the maple leaf, is everyone wants to beat you. I think Scotland suffers a bit the same. And by any good curling team, I think Sweden here, I think a lot of teams have been looking to beat them and hand them their first loss. Incredibly, since its start in 2008 of this mixed doubles championship, there has been 6 undefeated teams. Sweden could go on to be the 7th team to win gold with no losses. See Norway keep pushing these yellows away and beyond the tee line.
Yeah, to remain undefeated in this format is very impressive. It's tough. There's so many stones in play. You can't really guarantee how any end's going to turn out. The gap between the teams at the top, teams at the bottom of the table all week, I didn't feel was huge.
Vet jag inte vart vi vill, om vi vill ända ner i klykan. Helst bara
de inte kan spela så.
De kommer kunna spela så får de. Det kommer ligga många röda kvar, men
jag gillar att spela den här när vi får bort några av dem.
Ja. Jag kollar från hack. Jag tror jag har 1-2 cent i luft. Ja, 1-2 cent i luft. Det är frågan vilken fart bara.
Vilken fart?
Ja, det där jag inte vet riktigt.
8 eller 9.
Ja, det känns som en mjuk och bara eliminera en och sätta floppen eller en clearing.
You're being very quiet, Sandra. I don't think you like the look of these angles for Norway.
Spela dragningen.
I'm just trying to listen into the chatter.
Just changed his mind.
Oscar running through the options from the hack. First, I was thinking just to make the hit and check with the soft weight, or throw the peel, try and just shuffle some reds, but in the end he actually ends up with the first call, which is to draw in there into the pocket, I believe. Can't spend too much time thinking either in mixed doubles. Even after all the deliberation, he makes a perfect one. I think we'll see Norway play peel weight though. The peel has been a high, hard one.
Yeah, and they have to come this hand on it. The yellow just been played is going nowhere if you're coming from the left-hand side there, so they need to be trying to move it back with the red beside the brush.
So catching a thin piece of the red, run it onto the yellow. Not sure how many yellows will fly, but most importantly for Norway, just open up the forfeit here. Leave a few reds, leave a chance to score 2 or more. So I see one goes out the side door. I think they've left a double back for Sweden. Not sure if that worked out all too well.
Kontrollerad clearing. Nu har jag 4-5 cent i luft.
Spilte litt løsere, spilte 11 på.
Kan vi få en cent i insida och floppa in mot garden så är det perfekt, men...
Det blir 1-2 der nå da. Neste slag da.
Säkra förbi helst.
Siste min.
Fryser den, tror jeg.
Nå snä. Da er vi utenfor kant 12, tror jeg. Litt grann.
Again, advantage from the left-hand attack here. This one may be running a bit wide. It will, so that red one stays. A rare mistake from Oscar.
Yeah, maybe just up the revs a little bit on that one, and off he went, and the stone was never coming back. It never looked like it was getting to the inside. Hitting and rolling out has brought the ultimate red at the very bottom of the screen back into play as well, potentially.
Yeah, absolutely. A double here. Norway lies 3, with Sweden only 1 stone to go. Want to make this one count.
Pretty good.
Kjapp bra. Sendt innsida.
Men da må vi si det, da.
Jeg trodde samme her.
Okay, so a bit of miscommunication there. Magnus thinking they were playing the double. Kristin wasn't quite aware that Magnus wanted to do that. Seemed the obvious call, really. Less pressure on Almeida Deval, not having to make a double back necessarily, but just keep the shooter in play.
Again, looks like there's nothing the sweeper can do to help this one.
Will make the double regardless.
Double.
So maybe
no communication all the way down because they didn't need to.
I think maybe. Oh, no, I think Norway shot stone here, so draw for 2.
I think she might be the coolest character on the ice, Almeida Deval. She's just so chilled.
Jag kom lite vidare på min clearing där än vad jag ville. Eller vad jag brukar. Så det blev typ samma sättning som jag brukar göra. Bara för att hålla bort kölen, men jag behöver släppa den här lite mjukare med den svajden.
So, last stone of the 4th end. Open draw for 2 for Norway.
You talked about getting the extra point like Almeida Deval did in the 3rd. She had the button draw to put another point on the board, and how crucial those shots are. Are we scoring one here? This is way more straightforward. Lots of room to get in there for the 2nd point, and no problem for Skaslien. Will put 2 points on the board in the 4th end. And that is half the game done. Teams will head into the halftime break. Sweden leads Norway 4-3.
Bra spill. Ja, det er det.
Hjerneblødning på din siste?
Ja, på min siste. Det mener jo jeg stikker nå, altså bare helt objektivt.
Ja, men jeg roper jo ja, men du koster jo ikke heller.
So as we join it to see the highlights from the 1st end. So Almeida Deval looking to turn their last stone into something better than just the one. You can see the angles were awkward for her more than anything, but eventually the one yellow lies, so that was a good start for Sweden. 1-0 after 1 end. There were no easy paths in for Norway in the 2nd end. They were lying 1. We all agreed that there was no shot really possible. Just couldn't get the stone to curl from out there. So that was, after 2 ends, it was Sweden 1, Norway 1. A little bit cagey. Moving on to the third end. Looked like it was going to be advantage Norway to begin with, and a great draw by Oscar Eriksson created the chance for Amida Duval to have the 1 foot for an extra point. Sweden lying 2 at this point. This is the draw for the extra. Never in doubt, really. Swept beautifully, and that was a 3-point end and a 3-point gap for Sweden after 3 ends. A little bit more open this end. Skaslien came to play our last stone. Norway were lying 1. Free draw into the rings for 2. Only a stone in the 8 foot to beat. And again, without any undue pressure, makes the draw. Lovely stone. Norway narrow the gap, so at half-time it's Sweden 4, Norway 3.
Well, taking a look at the stats, Norway playing 69% to Sweden's 76, so slightly lower perhaps than the teams have played this week. A couple of half shots here and there, but Sweden will lead 4-3, and they have hammer as well. No power plays yet in the game, but I'm sure we'll see them in the second half. Just taking a look at the score from the qualification game for Beijing 2022. Czech Republic leading USA 5-3. So USA with a little bit of a comeback. Czech Republic actually scored 3 and stole 2 to start the game. They are currently setting up for the 5th end as well.
Jeg har kørt opp på alt, egentlig. De som har kørt opp perfekt, så har det vært litt hardere, så har hatt en backing som jobber for deg.
Alltså både min upp där och typ min glidning.
Kan vara lite för tidigt som vi sa. Det var bra. 2 eller 3 va? Startade Stockholm. Ja, okej. Ja, nära. Ja.
We're in Aberdeen, Scotland for the World Mixed Doubles Curling Championship 2021. Norway plays Sweden in this first of 2 semi-finals, the other one coming up later tonight. It is Norway trailing Sweden by 1. Christian Skaslien will throw the first stone of this second half. 5th end. So 4 more ends to go, unless we would ever get an extra end, which we did see this morning in the qualification game between Switzerland and Canada. That had all the makings of a classic game. So far we've seen a bit of both. A couple of half shots and a couple of really, really good ones, Alan.
That's right. Both teams are pretty much matching each other blow for blow at the moment. Slight advantage for Sweden because of a wonderful draw by Eriksson. The power plays, I think, may determine the ultimate score in this one, if and when both or either team choose to use them.
Nice stone placement by Skaslien for the first one. Amida Duval looking to just chip it off the button. And there you go. Does leave the shooter behind the tee line, so there's a big wall. Playing a bit below his tournament average, Nedergotten.
Yeah, he had a couple of draws, first end, second end. This first stone of 3 that came up light, which will have cost him some points.
Well, out of the guys, it is Oscar and Magnus topping the standings in terms of shooting percentages, closely followed by Bruce Mowat. So it makes sense that those 3 teams, Norway, Sweden, Scotland, are in the playoffs.
Ska vi ta här och spela bak 12?
Ja. Ja.
Hvor ville du egentlig? Topp 4, eller?
Nei,
Du vil jo helst det. Du vil jo bite knappen her.
Ok, for du tar rygg
De er
begge
dårlige
veier.
når de tapper.
Ja, det ble jo ikke den da.
Nei, det gjør ikke det.
Okej, fart!
You see those incredible numbers for the week. 87% at a World Championship in mixed doubles is almost unheard of.
Lite hårt! Lite hårt. Lite hårt.
Just tap it up.
Yeah, the change in direction of mixed doubles when it's moved from what we used to call specialists to now being played by the players we see around the world, playing 4 men's and 4s ladies. I think it's probably just moved the percentages up. It's more on the mainstream now. The Olympics, becoming Olympic events, certainly helped that. And the competitions are not played concurrently at the Olympics, so you can now play both the mixed doubles and men's or women's. Some of the bigger curling nations beginning to recognise that and putting a lot of resources into mixed doubles, where maybe before they were more relaxed about it, or standoffish about it.
Pretty good little tap from Nedergotten. We'll take a look next door. Czech Republic playing USA for that final spot in the Olympic Games that's awarded this week anyway. Susanna Paulova with last stone.
Stone before this, Joe Polo from the US had played a really, really good draw around those guards. There was a lot of Czech stones in play, and he just managed to come right round, nullify them. It wasn't hittable. So Czech Republic tried to just play a cold draw to beat it. You can see it beginning to curl now. In actual fact, they just slightly misjudged the sweeping. I think that was well played. However, it didn't quite curl enough at the end. Slid off the yellow to give the US a steal. That game very much back in an exciting one over there. It's now 5-3 after 4 ends.
I'm going to see some gunpowder from Oscar Eriksson. Norway still lies 2. It's incredible how he's almost always making contact, even if he throws it really hard.
So you can see straight nose hit on the guard, and then beyond that there was stones moving everywhere. The dust is settled. Norway do still lie 2, 1 behind the tees. They'll be looking to freeze on top of that, make it difficult. There will be double takeouts available. You might see some more, as you said, Swedish dynamite.
Maybe a touch heavy here. Just hoping for this one to grind. We'll cover the pin just a little bit deeper than they were hoping.
Bara försöka ligga andra sten i alla fall.
Den är inte där.
Kan vi tappa den så, då kan vi ju
Ja.
nästan ligga skottad.
Det är frågan om vi spelar den vägen eller om vi går samma väg som dem.
Det är inte lättare att gå det hållet för att få träffa så.
Bara spela bak 4.
As tempting as it is to go for another front to back, I don't think it will actually. Apart from opening up the button, Xander, I'm not sure if it would be that advantageous.
Oscar's going to come the other way. Again, remember, he's coming out the left-handed hack, which is placed on the other side of the center line, getting a different angle in. It's something that definitely Norway should consider. So this in turn for Oscar would potentially get a bit more finish around the guard. A lot of room on the guard here. Just to tap the shot stone. Weight's not too bad, just could have come closer to the guard. Leaves another pocket.
Ja, gärna det. Hänger lite mer nu va? Mycket där. Ser ut en lite grann men... Ja, ligger om 1.
I was attempting to come down and tickle the yellow to lie 3. Or do you just plant one right in the pocket?
Yeah, I would think they would be looking just to get one into the pocket, just high of the tee. Might be useful.
Might not be so easy to actually touch the yellow. I think if you ever got the line though, you could sweep it onto it. If you by any chance ended up being a little bit tight for line. This one, no panic sweeping yet. This looks a little hot and a bit wide. I don't know if this one is going to get there. Trying. Get to the inside of the red. It's really trying, actually. Well, not too far away. It looked like that one was lost. Wanted to curl a bit more, of course, and sit right on the pin. But much better than feared.
Yeah, that one really broke. Halfway down, you and I and the players, I think, were thinking that it was going to be wide. They thought it was a little hot as well, and then just grabbed maybe a fresh path because they were so wide, and that just started it curling. Ended up in a very tricky spot.
Last one for Sweden. There is enough room to get in there for Almeida de Val. Norway lying 1. So it could be a tied game, or Sweden could get a 2-point lead here.
Yeah, she can play this cold, or she can play just coming in off her yellow.
Also waiting for the curl here. Come off the yellow and chip in for shot stone. That's the plan. Not sure if they got there. Oscar says 1 red. I think Norway will take it. Very good try by Almeida de Val. I see both teams just struggling to get that late finish. So is it straightening out just a tad now after 6 cents of play? Either way, tied game after 5.
Ja, jag tycker vi tar powerplay nu.
Ja, jag tänkte också det.
Vilken sida har någon? Jag tror nästan här, ja. Eller? Då tror jag att hon fryser nästan.
Vad är det då?
Ja.
Vad säger boka?
Sier pølsebua.
Är det inte frysen? Poängen? Ja, men de har 6. och 8. da. Altså, de har to siste stender.
Det er jevnt, da. Jeg er heller ikke så glad i Sentergarden, egentlig ikke. Halvt minutt. Det går ikke jeg var.
Gjør vi det?
Kolla om det ser
Norway, Sweden, sixth end of the semi-final, and I think we've all been waiting for it, Alan. We have power play, and Sweden will have the chance to move the pre-positioned stones off the center line to the side. What does that mean for the Swedes?
Sweden, by moving the stones off, will be hoping to keep the center much clearer this time round. They've got more room to finish the end off. They don't want to get stuck into a congested middle when they've got the hammer. The stones go off with a center, with a corner guard rather, and one on the tee. So it's designed to make it a more straightforward way to score your two if things go to plan. We haven't seen it always go to plan all through the week, but generally the power play converts into a two for the team that has played it. It's interesting, it just makes teams play different shots. We've seen the bulk of stones being played from out to in into the 4 foot, and all of a sudden teams have to start playing slightly different lines, slightly different paths. And we've actually see maybe not quite so perfect shots because of these new lines, new paths, picking different bits of ice to aim at. It's quite a great invention, actually.
Norway and Sweden, the two teams with the highest power play efficiency in group play. Sweden with 80%, Norway 83%, meaning they score two or more almost always when they use power play.
Two or more, did you say?
Yes.
So that's the theory. We have seen teams use different ways to counter-attack it. Sometimes they try and chip the guard in. Other times they'll try and draw around it. 80% or 85%, I think you said, Xander.
I think if you're up in a game, the tick shot is most likely the best call. In a tied game, I don't know, by ticking the corner, you sort of say that giving away two is okay.
Yep, and then sometimes you see when the team that is using it was up anyway, and they're defending, making sure they don't concede anything huge or anything too much in the cluster down the middle. So in that case, you normally see a center guard being played by the first playing team. So interesting, they can play either side. It can be on the left-hand side or the right-hand side. Anyway, maybe which way they're more comfortable playing. I haven't actually worked out. Do you have those stats to keep a stat record of which side the power play has been used on?
Don't think we have. Didn't know that was...
I've found a chink in your armor.
It was something I hadn't thought about until today. For a lot of players, the preferred hand would be the out turn, which would be a counterclockwise rotation for a right-handed player. Out turn, out hand. Oscar coming up quite heavy. So I think the way Norway's playing this end is to try and get the force.
Yep, I think so. That would presumably then give them the chance to deploy their own power play down the seventh end. So the stones being this scattered at the moment.
Ja. Normal. Lite mer. Ja.
Ericsson could play the front to back on the yellow onto red. If it goes to plan, maybe the shot that will eventually lead to a slightly bigger end than a 2, I think, has to be made.
Could make the run double. I just think the first red would probably catch the back yellow. So it's more about just sticking the first yellow here, ideally behind the shooter, just like that.
But 2 behind guards.
Yeah, very, very solid. That is so hard. One thing is to make contact, but another is to leave that stone fully buried behind the shooter.
So just as you called, Xander. Yellow to yellow. Sacrifice the back yellow to do so. Leaves Norway in a spot to bother.
Playing the freeze, Norway, knowing full and well that a mistake here could bring a big score into play, but Magnus saying we can't just give them a 3 either. Of course, a freeze here would take the yellow stone on the wing out of play, most likely. Looks pretty good here. Wraps around the guard, just trying to get it down onto the face of the yellow. And that's a very, very well played. Sweden will not be able to get rid of that red stone. Most likely cuts the score down to 2 for Sweden. So a little bit tougher to take tighter ice here and play across the center line. Of course, now we're in the 6th end, so the ice should start to become a bit more uniform, but path could be a little bit different, a little bit slower than the button draw. Played a few takeouts up the center line as well, run backs. Should be fairly broken down, and Oscar's found the perfect weight. Just split the rings, really.
Ja, du kan slå. Ja, du ser halve, tenker jeg. 60.
Yeah, I think he's 90% happy with that. It has given... There is room to freeze against it.
Jeg tror linja helt ok der, også hvis du vil ha frysen.
Talked about hitting and just giving away 2. I think they can find something in between. Just like that, yeah, tap it a foot. So that red stone's better. Makes it a little harder for Sweden to score there too. You just saw Oscar play the same line. Ideally, you come pretty close to the face of the Yellowstone, just tap it back a foot. Could freeze, or if you have a bit too much weight, maybe just even chip it far enough.
It's taking a long time to get going.
I think it's just going to be the straight freeze with this weight. Does it tap it a bit too much? Overswept by a few strokes.
Yeah, they just got totally caught in between. It was pretty good for the freeze. Or if he'd really committed to it, it was pretty good for the tap back.
Timeout by Sweden. Want to see if they can score 3 here.
If she can find a way to the inside, as we look at it there, we're just for her brushes, if she can find a path to that.
Nej, vad tror du? Den kommer gå man lite över. Den kommer tappa lite farten här. Så är vi chapp men fart igenom, då kommer det bara, då dör den. Det kanske är lättare att spela bara för 2. För det, alltså chappar du, då flyger den här lätt. Du kan, tar du lite insida och vickar hit, om den här stannar, ja men då får vi 1 i alla fall. Så är vi nära chappen så får vi 1 eller 2. Jag kan tänka mig...
Jag kan spela chappen med 9 typ.
Ja, jag gillar det. Vad tror du?
Jag tror inte mycket mer än det alltså.
Så här?
Om man tänker på den...
Ja.
Du spelar en normal där.
Ja, den trycker jag till lite. Är lite extra aktiv.
So fairly quickly, they've decided to play for 2, just knowing that to play for 3, you have to play a very down weight, get to the inside of the red, and if it ever touches the yellow, it's going to lose enough pace that it might be hard to get it far enough. So playing bigger weight, trying to catch this on the nose. Score 2 here in Sweden's power play. Last stone, Almida Deval. Big sweep, Oskar Eriksson trying to keep it past the top red. They will. And that shot's made for 2. That was a good saver by Kristin Skaslien. And Magnus, to be fair, 2 nice freezes to make sure it wasn't a bigger score, but also a very nice shot by Almida Deval to secure the 2 points for Sweden. They lead Norway 6-4 after 6.
So you can see again from the other end, Yellowstone coming down, looking to just take full stone on the red. Xander translated so well for us. They realized that there was no point taking the 3. It was too low reward for the high risk, so played the much more straightforward nose hit for a 2. Once again, Almida Deval with that last stone. 5th stone at the end. She is cool as a cucumber playing it.
Jeg blir her og så går på egen eventuelt, hvis det skulle være nødvendig.
Norway, Sweden, the semi-final here in Aberdeen, Scotland. We saw Sweden use their power play in the 6th end. Now Norway to use theirs. So often these 2 power play ends come in succession. Of course, you can only use it when you have last stone. And in the fear of not having more last stones, Norway, they might as well use it here. Not able to carry it into an extra end either. And Sweden with a 2-point lead, they will try the corner tick, or as it's locally known as the chop.
I'm not biting.
Well, you've been wanting more terminology this week, Alan, so we are offering up choices. I think the chop's a decent...
You know, as much as I don't like it, it kind of makes sense.
Because you could call it a slash, but that's already been used for or slashing a stone in with bigger weight, or playing a slash double. So until we have a better suggestion, we'll stay with it. Norway will try to come around the shooter of Sweden sort of left the guard still. Maybe trying Christmas tree it. That's another term. That's more of a Canadian one. Trying to get a stagger on all 3 stones. Of course, the stagger representing the branches of the Christmas tree, as far as I've understood that term.
Yeah, I think that's right. Just as you look down the ice, if you can see a stone and a half stone, another stone, it looks like the branches of a Christmas tree, I believe, is the origin of that one.
I mean, they could have just said tree, to be fair. But there you go. It's kind of stuck in the curling terminology book. Sweden not allowed to make a hit. Can't remove any stones from play yet, so looking to freeze, and I think Oscar's done a brilliant job here. Is there a double, though, for Norway?
Concern about the double would be it's a bit early to play it.
Yeah, it would kind of group all the reds.
Yeah.
Also very hard to get rid of that yellow stone played by Sweden any other way.
Någon av dubblarna. Ja, få bort något av det. Ja. Försöka eliminera 2.
Oh. Yep. Hej!
Oh, look at that. Makes the double. Looks very nice. Question is what's left for Sweden, though.
Yeah, I think they felt they had to play it there purely because it was going to be so hard to get the second yellow and way later then if they left it. So you can see, again, looking down the other end, one first contact perfect, second contact perfect, pushes the yellow through the hole and leaves the shooter lying 3. We are slightly concerned they are very close together. And we know this man can hit. There's enough room there to maybe zigzag through here.
Yeah, I think to catch this with enough weight, Oscar might, as you say, make the double on the top 2 reds, shoot through and get the third one. We'll see, 1, 2. No, caught a bit too thick. But sits in front. So now Norway can split the rings. I'll be happy to score the 2 on Sweden. I don't think you can expect to score a whole lot more on the Swedish team.
Ja. Om du skulle være litt dyp også, så ikke det helt krise, tror jeg.
Nei,
Man går via egen I hvert fall. Ser bra ut. 14 blank.
Magnus Nedregotten looking to split the house, keep as much distance as he can between the 2 reds. Don't want to leave any angles either. We know that Oscar can throw heat if he has to. So looking to just square them up. Pretty good.
Ja, får vi se noe magisk.
Det är värt att spela ner den här.
Jag funderar på det också. Frysa den där känns lite äckligt.
It's a tempter. The angle for the double, I think, uses his own yellow.
Bara lite insida, sätta den och försöka floppa över.
So from a Norwegian perspective, I think that's probably what you want to see him trying.
Det är 2 sten emellan.
Vad sa du?
Det är 2
Yes and no. Yes, if he makes a mistake. No, if he makes the shot. So the thinking here for Sweden is if they hit the open red, there's just not going to be, even if Norway knows his back, I don't think the double's on for Sweden because they came a bit deeper. The only way to really set up for a double here is to make the short run back and try and roll the shooter closer to the other red.
He's a crowd pleaser. He's gone for it.
Yeah. So he gets the roll a bit closer, and now more likely to be left an angle for a double on the next one.
Yeah, either way his Almeida's next stone is going to be open.
Fel tanke.
Could have caught that even a little thinner, rolled even farther, but still a very good shot. Are we thinking nose hit? Will be pretty good. Would leave a tough angle for Almeida de Val.
4-5. Okay. Liten rull innom nå.
So perfect play from Nedergotten. You can see the double is very thin.
Känns vicken bättre då eller?
Ja, kör den. En 10.
So they're not going to take it on. Of course, the thinner a double is, the higher the chances you miss the shot altogether.
And that one is pretty steep, isn't it? It's quite a steep angle too. Get it, and it is thin. There's even a yellow catcher across there if you caught it really thinly.
And if you go for it, really go for it, there's a chance you miss the red stone. And if you play it a bit safe, you're just going to roll over the top anyway. So play a different shot there. The hit and roll to make it harder for Norway to score there too. This one maybe rolling too far. Oh, if that roll's frozen. Wow, that was so close.
About halfway across, as it was getting close to that red one, I thought she'd laid it right in front to lie the shot.
So close to making that perfect. Still makes the shot a bit harder for Norway. Cuts down the rings. So almost need forfeit here for the second point. Teams are very close. Norway with power play here in the 7th. Last stone, a chance to score 2, tie the game. 7-8 is a call from Magnus. That's T-line, or back 4. Maybe a bit shyer for weight than he thought, but seems to be in control. And there you go. Right on the button from
excellent draw, well judged.
Kristin Skaslien. That ties the game. After 7, it's as close as it can get. Through 7 ends of play, 1 more to go in the semi-final. Norway-Sweden here in Aberdeen, Scotland.
Altså, du har nødt til ned, tror jeg.
Hvorfor det?
Nei, ok. Da skal du stoppe den på bite.
Nära på. Eller nära på alla 3. Ja. Ja, alltså bara 1-2 centi tunnare så rullar jag emot den.
Den er jævlig god, den her mangoen. Nei, takk. Jeg har spist for mye.
Blir för söt.
Ja, men den er ikke tilsatt søtning.
Jag tänkte du blir för söt, Magnus. Om du äter för mycket sött.
Ja, det kan hende, Oskar.
Jeg må til. Nei, det er ganske sikkert.
Er det out? Ulla.
Ja.
We're in Aberdeen for the World Mixed Doubles Curling Championship 2021. Norway plays Sweden in the semi-final. 1 end to go. I can say that with certainty because the game's tied, and I don't think we'll see a blank end here. Norway will do everything in their power to steal. And of course, with a center guard and a stone back of the forefoot in mixed doubles, it seems a bit more likely. Heard some playful banter between Oscar and Magnus before the end. And it's always a little hard to tell if it's just being friendly or maybe playing a bit of mind games.
Passive-aggressive banter.
Seemingly friendly, but you never know what the intention might be.
So crucial for Norway to get this end underway in their favour here, and that's a really good start, maybe just offline, but perfect weight. So they are the only team that has stolen in this match, which is something they may refer back to.
Can I offer up a statistic, Alan?
I love it.
In group play, 9 games for Sweden, they only gave up 1 steal.
Okay, right. I'm just working out whether that means that the chances of taking another one now are greater or lower. Because Norway have already taken their 1 steal.
Double the statistic. Yeah, just underlines how dominant Sweden have been.
Yeah, I mean, I think you see almost breezed through the group. They didn't seem to be in difficulty in any game.
The game against Norway was a fairly entertaining one. Sweden did have a decent lead coming into the last end, but it was fairly close. We gave them a good fight. Almeida the ball.
Doesn't want to bounce this too far.
I was going to say, Almeida the ball doing a good job of creating some space. And I'm not sure if Norway really wanted to tap that yellow that far. You know, I think they would be more happy to keep things congested in the forfeit. Oskar running the guard back. Could spill everything here. 1, 2. Pretty good. So for them, it's just to keep everything open, keep the button open, the path in there open. Almeida de Val has shown so many times she can put it on the pin.
Yeah, this is going to be the pattern, isn't it? I think we can say the 2 stones end up at the back of the rings are not going to be the winning stones. There's a yellow on the intern draw path now, which is going to make things a little bit more interesting if that was the path that Sweden have to finish the game on.
Norway will guard. You might see them guard a couple of times here. And then we'll see if Sweden will try and run it back. This one comes pretty close to the rings. So, pretty sure Oskar will take this on. We'll take a look. A couple of sheets over. Czech Republic play USA for a spot in the Olympic Games. Oh wow, great shot by Oskar as we take a look at Susanna Paulova.
Yeah, screaming hard for this one. There is a route round path if you can hit. You can see there if she could hit the red onto another red and then spill. 2 stones are frozen in behind it. Pretty high technical shot that. This is a measure. It's a measure for the 1. US playing yellow. That was a 1 point to the Czech Republic. That moved them into 6-4 lead after 6 ends.
Yeah, worth taking another look at this shot from Oskar. Runs it back. Yeah, I think Norway just put that guard a little too tight to the rings.
Yeah, off angle as well. We're allowed to call him Oskar the Destroyer.
Well, at a young age, he was the professor. a professor who's also a destroyer. That would be the Hulk, I guess. Timeout for Norway.
Ja, det gjør kanskje det, da.
Ja, man kan med 8 fot i forkant.
Hvordan får vi sikret best at du må sette siste den her? Jeg vet ikke, det er derfor jeg spør deg. Nei, jeg tenker første garden, altså. Ja. Men å få på linje. Ja. Hva gjør vi med siste da? Ja, for å fort doble der, ja. Så får jeg dratt opp 8 på siste da. Så får jeg 4. Du får ikke presse ned 4 her, sånn at det ligger noe uansett, gjør det? Altså at du må dra 4 fot her, ja, det er det. Så hva blir det til? Hva mener du er best? Skal vi legge den da?
Altså, går det på linje med den, ikke sant, eller? Ja. Ja.
Okay.
Fine.
Out.
Ja.
Not too many options for Norway. I think really guard or potentially come around the yellows. Not sure if it will help you much more. You throw the guard, you're expecting Sweden to just peel it, and then you can come into the house anywhere you want to make it difficult for Almeida Deval. Most likely you're looking at a forfeit draw either way.
Yeah, I think that's a good assessment. There's not much hiding space now, so looking just to close down scoring space. Probably with the next one.
Yep.
Jag tror inte den här kan hamna på något sämre ställe ändå.
Nej.
Sweden getting a chance to maybe move the yellow guard as well, which would open the left-hand side for the draw. But that wasn't quite necessary for Norway.
No, they just brought it a bit close there. I think there are ways that a yellow one could come forward a bit as well. Here we go. You see, it's put it into the 1 foot.
Yeah.
To 4 foot now, but that Norwegian guard was just a little bit too near those yellows there. Allowed Oscar.
Well, that works out well for Sweden.
That does.
No guard, and they have stone top 4. If they nose here, might be enough room for Sweden to just nose back for the win.
Yep, that would ask the question though. Nose on the yellow. They may elect to draw.
Norway might be looking to roll a bit towards the right-hand side as we see it now, meaning in front of their own red. I think by rolling away, you might have Almeida question a bit more what to play.
Just to cut it now.
Oh, this one. Gonna catch it too thin and roll all the way out. Well, I said we wouldn't get a blank in this one. If Sweden decided to play the hit, that could have happened. So less pressure on Sweden. Almeida Deval, I think, have elected to play the draw. And there is quite a lot of room to draw too. Just full 8 foot. Any other time, I don't think I'd see a miss from Deval. But of course, it is to put Sweden into the final, into the gold medal game. There is a bit more pressure. Heart could be racing a bit here. Sometimes very easy to come out the hack with just a bit too much pace. It's important to just stay cool and calm. Of course, not being put under much pressure all week, Sweden, so this is a bit unfamiliar. The stone's underway. Last stone of the game. Oscar not touching this one. Not touching this one at all.
No.
Will it sit in time?
This is going to be close.
And it's certainly past the tee line. Magnus Nedergotten will sweep it. How far does it go? How far does it go? It goes too far, and Norway will steal this semi-final. Can you believe it? Rolled out on their last stone. Norway left the whole 8-foot open for the Swedes. Almeida de Val indeed comes up too far, and Norway will win the semi-final 7-6. I don't think they can believe it either.
I don't think you can believe it.
Well, that must be... As we get some celebrations 2 sheets over, I don't think it's any secret that Czech Republic has won over there. We might as well announce it because we're getting some major celebrations. Brad Askew coming out to congratulate the team. So they will feature in the Olympic Games. And it's a bit more of a collected celebration for the Norwegian team. We'll see the last stone again in our semi-final. Oscar didn't touch it the whole way down. Magnus Nedergotten with the chance to sweep it past the tee line. Honestly, I thought it was going to stop in time, but that just kept sliding and just a few inches too far. And that is, of course, very upsetting for Sweden, who's been so solid this whole week. But I think that might have been a factor, Alan, that Almeida de Val has not had that pressure to play a shot like that all week, because they have been demolishing their opponents.
Yeah, and you mentioned previously that sometimes you get caught between 2 stones there. Do you play the cold draw and take the ice accordingly, or do you say, well, I'll take the line in front of the back red there and take that line and throw that weight, and in actual fact you get caught, your brain just doesn't process it properly, so you end up throwing the weight of one at the line of another.
The fact that you have Oscar as well to sweep there, you could have thrown that quite light, probably 20 feet lighter, and gotten there. And it's a lot of pressure on a young Almeida de Val.
Yeah, disappointing though. They probably can't believe that. They've controlled the game so well all week. But put under just that little bit more pressure. Can do funny things.
I can't believe.
Tears of joy. Tears of relief. The Olympics can do funny things to people. Such a dream, such a goal, such an ambition. We will come to see how that game did finish to create such Czech joy. It's going to be hard to disguise it as not knowing what's happened. So we will go across now to the interview room to probably hear another delighted team.
Team Norway, that was a very exciting game. It seemed like both teams cancelling each other out there, at least for the first part of the game, or actually all 8. I don't know if you share the same assessment.
We started off quite bad with some of our stones. Didn't manage to get the draw weight in the beginning there, but after a while we figured it out. So we managed to give them a tough game at least. But the way it ends, well, it's yeah, how it is.
Yeah, of course, maybe not the way you want to win, but I assume you'll take it and be happy that you're in the gold medal game now.
Of course, we are very happy. It's well, I feel a bit empty now because it was I'm drained after this game. So yeah.
It's been a tough week, and 2 games in a row today. So it'll be good to have some rest now and look forward to tomorrow's final. Be exciting.
With that win, that's going to improve your best result at this championship. But I'm assuming you're not going to settle for silver.
Well, if the opponent is better, then we will. If we play better, then we'll see.
We will do our best.
Yeah, of course.
Well, thank you so much for that great entertainment. Have a good rest, and we'll see you in the final.
Thank you.
Right, we've got time to look back to see how that all unfolded. As we came into the second half, Sweden were leading 4 points to 3 with the hammer. There was room to make a draw. Either a cold draw or just coming in off that 1 yellow on the outside. It does that, but doesn't quite roll far enough, and Sweden give up a steal. Into the 6th end, Sweden had taken their power play. Very brave attempt by Norway to cut the scoring zone down. Left Almeida Deval with a shot. Nose hit. It was the called shot. Made very cleanly. And the Swedes scored 2. Norwegian had also taken their power play in the 7th end this time. As Christine Skazian came to play her last shot, Norway were lying 1. She had the 4-foot available to her. The draw was made onto the 1-foot circle. We went down the last end with the scores tied. On Norway's last stone of the match, they were looking to hit a yellow stone at the top of the 4-foot, on the nose or possibly just slightly high. Makes Sweden have to play a slightly more difficult last technical shot. However, hit the stone high, rolled out, leaving the whole of the 8-foot circle for Deval to draw to. And as it came into the rings, we realized it was going to be really close. Magnus Nertegrod has swept it. Look at that, the stone was too deep. Norway stole a 1 to win the game 7 points to 6 and book a place in the final. Consolatory hug for Team Sweden.
We see both games finish here, this session coming to a close. Of course, we had another exciting game. Czech Republic played USA for the last spot awarded this week into the Olympic Games. And Joe Polo with last stone, tied game 6-6. Their power play end. For Czech Republic, rather.
Yep, Czech Republic power play end. Got a glimpse of the fact there was 2 red stones crossing the corner. Guessing Joe Polo was looking to come around those. Get buried.
Mine's good, felt good.
Looking to put some pressure on Susanna Paulova with her last stone.
Gotta go for weight.
Happy with the line. It's beginning to curl, beginning to pull up.
8. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
And much like the Sweden-Norway game, they've overswept that. Left no shot required. And you know what happens next.
Yeah, a lot of emotions for these two, securing a spot at the Olympic Games for Czech Republic. Well, it's an incredible feat for these two. They started the week so well. And in the end, not able to contend for medals, but I think just a spot in the Olympic Games means just as much, or if not more. So that's the final scores for you. Norway winning the semi-final, a 7-6. Czech Republic beating USA in the qualifying game for Beijing 2022, 8-6. So just taking a look at the standings again, we can see now Sweden came into that semi-final undefeated, but will not feature in the gold medal game, but Norway will. And of course we have a semi-final between Scotland and Canada later on this evening here in Aberdeen, Scotland. And as we take a look at the playoff bracket, it was Sweden and Scotland to advance to the semi-final as they won their groups. Norway with a 7-5 win on Italy played Sweden, and of course now have beaten Sweden. They're awaiting the winner of Canada-Scotland. Thank you so much for watching. The games today have just been incredible, and we expect the same tonight. Please join us again. Canada-Scotland coming up somewhere near you.